Previously on the Sunday Antisocial.
I don't have a freezer that could put a tiny igloo. I can't fit my thermos in a freezer. But that's because I wrecked my wife's car to get a used refrigerator from a dead person, which is a whole nother story. I'm gonna need a hashtag AskRibs on that before I get into it though. All right, I took a long break. I'm in a better mood now. This is a Sunday Antisocial. It's supposed to be fun. Let's talk about something else like the debate. I got up this morning and I hugged my cat extra tight. I'm glad she did not get eaten overnight by Haitian immigrants. I think the Trump campaign did a good job of backgrounding us, of setting the expectation. They leaked all this stuff about how the top staffers were worried that Donald was gonna crash and burn. So that when he did crash and burn, we feel like, well, hey, at least he showed up, and it was kind of the reverse psychology a little bit. So I came in and it was right in the middle of things, and he was going on about immigrants and how bad they are and how Kamala Harris is personally rowing a Viking longboat down to Mexico over the Rio Grande. I don't know what the scenario was, but how she's bringing these immigrants in, and I was like, oh shit, he's obviously he's full of shit, but he's on message, I realized then when she started talking that reaction is from the Biden era, where at least Trump was he was talking loudly and on brand, and Joe Biden couldn't do that. And then Harris started speaking, and I was like, oh, this is a whole different game. Harris speaks a lot like Obama, which I'm sure is on purpose. I think she probably was coached to do that and probably has purposefully emulated him. And it's a good tactic. She speaks slowly and methodically and calmly, and I'm sure that smarter people than me have advised her to do that when she's standing next to a guy who can't do that. And but I still want something more. I still want, I didn't see her. I know she went after him several times, but I want someone to really, really stick it to, to just stand there and take the man down. Because it's so easy to do. It's so you could just be like, hey man, your dick's small. That's all you gotta say, and he will completely lose it. Now I guess you can say blaming AI Haitian refugees for eating pets. That's losing it by any reasonable objective standard, but we've been doing this so long now that we don't really have objectivity or standards or anything like that anymore. But man, the memes this morning are worth it all. It's just amazing stuff. And then Elmo Musk talking about how he's going to impregnate Taylor Swift. He's gonna give her a child and take care of her cats. Listen, I've made some mistakes in my life, right? And I've done some stupid things. But it always made sense. There was always a logical, train of thought that what possibly is going through the man's mind when he says something like that in public? What do you think of Taylor Swift? Do we like Taylor Swift in this channel? I don't know. I still can't. It's hard to know if she's the best thing ever. She's not the best thing ever. It's hard to know if she's really, really good and she's what this generation needs, or if she's a complete phony. I can't decide. Bearded Fur Flinger. Are you from Haiti, sir? Bearded Fur Flinger says your content is a breath of fresh air in today's stuffy world. It's because you can't feel how stuffy it is in my garage on this hot September day. Shouldn't be this hot. Should not be this hot in September. Did you hear that we killed the Great Barrier Reef? It's some scientists came out and they're like, it's already done. There's no way it can recover from what has happened. Largest organism in the universe that we know of. And we killed it. Sorry. I knew when they added coral reefs to Minecraft that it was done. That's and then when they added pandas, man, oh dude, I was like, this does not look good for pandas. I'm laughing, but this is one of the reasons that I hate humanity. Rafa and Timber Drifter and a bunch of other people asked about my fridge story. And that's what I was alluding to when I said I've made mistakes in life. First, Fireplug asks Gribbs, did you consider wearing a vest when attending the Trump rally? I'm really more of a cummerbund kind of guy. The bow tie does not look good with the vest, and if you're If you're a fat Southern guy like me, you gotta have the bow tie. Just kidding, fat Southern guys, don't take style advice from me. If you have a beard, bow ties do not look good. They only look good if you are clean shaven, maybe a handlebar mustache. I do know a guy that pulls that off. What is my life? What am I talking about? The way I feel about body armor in general is that if you have to wear it, you're already in the wrong situation. Like, that should be your clue to not do whatever it is you're getting ready to do. All right, you all asked for it. Let's talk about the fridge. Now, it's important to understand, right, that I am a self-employed artist and my wife is a respectable person. The only reason she sticks with me is that I am very resourceful, and that is how I have survived this far on the tiny, tiny bit of money that I make. And so we had this refrigerator that came with the house. It was a beautiful refrigerator from like 1945. I mean, it was seriously like, it was the refrigerator that Indiana Jones took shelter in from the nuclear explosion. That movie is not canon, by the way, so I should have come up with a better example, but you get what I mean. I don't know a damn thing about refrigerators, but I was able to repair this fridge several times just because it was old and well made and it was user serviceable. I could take a part out, put the same part in, hey, it works again. So this went on for 10 years. I repaired this fridge as it was dying for 10 years. And then finally, you get to the point where if you have to buy a part that costs 50% of a new product, you just go ahead and get a new product, right? But it wasn't that easy. Have you priced a refrigerator lately? Like, I don't want to spend the amount of money it would take to go buy a new fridge. And I'm resourceful, right? And I lean too heavily sometimes on my resourcefulness. Sometimes I'm like, I can figure out a workaround when you really should not work around this issue. And the other thing is that we live in a neighborhood with houses. All the houses in the neighborhood, that's what I'm trying to say, were built around the same time. And it was from a time before refrigerators were the gigantic machines that we have now. They were svelte, slender refrigerators. And we have a fridge nook in the kitchen, right? The fridge has to fit into the fridge nook, which is much smaller than any fridge nook built in my lifetime. I could enlarge it. I could, because I'm a resourceful guy, right? But I just said I'm too resourceful, and I know, I've learned about myself, that if I go in with a sledgehammer and take out half a wall to put a 6-inch higher fridge in, I'm gonna get a divorce. And I don't like to talk about my wife on these videos because I don't want her to know that I'm down here making them instead of working, but I've fooled her enough that she does allow me a pretty long leash on the resourcefulness stuff. And I said, look, we can go spend $1,000 and get a fridge, but it's not going to be any bigger. We're not going to have a lifestyle improvement. We're still going to be stuck with a tiny fridge. Why don't we find a used one from someone else in the neighborhood that has the same style fridge nook, and then we'll just slide it into the nook. Great, wonderful idea, except we both drive smaller economy cars. I drive a Honda Civic, and I went out and measured every possible orifice of my car, and a fridge cannot be shoved into any of them. So I found some neighbors looking to unload their fridge, and I said, hey, I'd like to buy your fridge. And they said, don't worry about it. We'll just give it to you. We'll just give you a free fridge. Boom, resourcefulness for the win. So I said, hey baby, I'm gonna need to borrow your car, shove a fridge in it and bring it over from just from the street right over there. It's gonna be easy. She said, hey, that sounds like a great idea. I can't lift a fridge. We don't wanna buy a new fridge, it's too much money. You go do it. You're such a great husband. When do I do it? 10 o'clock at night. That's the best time to move heavy things, right? In the dark. And she was like out late that night, and obviously I needed her car. So I waited till she got home. I called my neighbor. I'm like, hey, you still awake over there? Yeah, come get the fridge. Cool, it's in our basement. All you gotta do is back the car up, and we'll just put it in the back of the car, right? That's all you gotta do. So I show up at the neighbor's house, and I reverse the car, like up their back drive, and it's 10 o'clock at night. They got kids. They're trying to put the kids to bed. They're doing me a favor. They're giving me a free fridge. I'm trying to hurry. I'm in a hurry. Trying to back the car up, and I open the driver's door, and I go and I look at the fridge. And I go and I look at the fridge. It's like the same refrigerator that we got rid of, which was made out of granite. And we're talking about the heaviest home appliance you could possibly own, right? And that's okay. That's okay. Surely they have a dolly. I can just use the dolly. No dolly. All right. Well, I'm a big dude. I'm just gonna power through this. But then I realized I don't want to carry this fridge any farther than I have to. So I go back and I sit down in the driver's seat and I'm going to reverse, but I'm smart and I check the angles. I look out the open driver's door, everything's clear, and I look out the open tailgate and everything's clear, and I put my arm back here and I put the car in reverse and I hit reverse, and the door catches on the bank next to the driveway and it just sort of peels it down the length of the car. That was when I knew that it was going to be a long night. And so I got, the first thing you do when this happens, the best thing to do is just go ahead and put it back in drive and peel the door back closed, except it didn't close all the way. It was kind of flapping, and it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. And my neighbors are just like watching this whole thing. And I'm just like, yeah, this happens all the time. No big deal. So I go and I like pick up the fridge, and I put it in the car and I drive it through the neighborhood and I bring it home. And I bring it in the house, and my wife is like, how'd it go? And I'm like, yep. So we go out and we look at her car, and I'm like, I think this is going to be fine. This is, I'm sure we have saved enough money on the fridge to pay for the repairs, right? Because I'm a resourceful guy. This is still a net profit, really. And she's looking at me like, my mother was right about you. And so I go in the house, right? And we got the fridge standing there in the living room, and I go in the house and I like pick up the fridge and I like walk it into the kitchen, right? And I get to the nook and I'm pushing it in the nook, and it's like 2 inches too tall to fit in the nook. I double check the measurements. I don't know what it was the same fridge in the same, I don't know what happened. It was some kind of spatial anomaly. And at this point, it's like midnight, right? And I'm like, hey, I could just get the sledgehammer. We can make this thing fit. And she's like, I'm going to bed, you son of a bitch. I will see you in the morning. So I get up early in the morning and I like get like a coat hanger and wire my wife's driver's door shut so that she can go to work. And she's got to like get in through the passenger side and slide over. And I'm just like, okay, have a good day at work, honey. And so I went back inside and got on Craigslist and tried to find another fridge. And I found one like 2 counties away, and it was like $60 and it was tiny. It was like the smallest fridge you can get without being a mini fridge. I'm like, I know this thing will fit. I called the guy. I'm like, listen, I need you to go buy 3 tape measures and make sure they're all the same. And then I need you to send me the measurements that you measure at least twice. Like, we got to make this right. So that evening, my wife gets home from work. I take her car because I still can't fit one in mine. It's not my car got any bigger because of all of this. And I drive down to the guy's place where he's selling his fridge, and beautiful fridge. Brand new fridge. So I get the fridge in my car and I'm like shaking the dude's hand, like, thank you so much. And by the way, like, why are you getting rid of a brand new fridge? Like, it looks like it's never been used. And he's like, oh yeah, it really hasn't. Like, my grandma went into assisted nursing and this was the fridge we got for her apartment. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, she wanted a different color or something? He's like, no, she's dead. Oh. Well, thanks. It took like 6 months for me to find someone to fix the door on my wife's car because, of course, it's an old car. Got to go to a junkyard to get another door. That's expensive. But we already saved so much money on the fridge. Finally, I found a body shop. I just drove to this random body shop. I'm like, look, man, is there any way we can do something about this door? And the guy was like, how much cash do you have on you? And I was like, I'll go to an ATM machine. Like, I don't want to get a divorce. What does it take? So he's got like some dude that is clearly not he has an illegal immigrant from Eastern Europe. And this guy's like 7 feet tall and built like a fridge. And he comes out with a crowbar and he's like, where's my cash? And the owner of the shop is like, he's got it. And I'm like, oh shit. And the dude just like, he like literally puts the crowbar under the door, lifts the car up and like lets it settle back down with the door open on the crowbar and like bends the door back into place. Like, still has a dent in it. Closes just fine. So I get home that night and I'm like, look out in the driveway, baby. I got a surprise for you. I fixed your car. I mean, my friend Igor fixed your car, but I paid him with your money. And that is all the time we have this month, this season. This season's Sunday Antisocial has now come to a close. As usual, my production outpaces my ability to distribute my content. There's so much stuff in store, There's a lot happening on my Patreon if you're into that, and other things that I'm going to come out with soon. But yeah, it's been a crazy summer. It's been a time, and maybe I'll tell you about all that in the future. But very busy, and hope to see you soon. Stay safe. Stay safe. Keep the ends out for the ties that bind.